Hi, my name is Jay, and I have cystic fibrosis. Cystic fibrosis is a genetic disease that's currently incurable and currently filling my body with mucus. It's in my lungs, it's around my pancreas, it makes a mess. If you look, I have a previous video called Honey Lungs, which you can search for, or I'll link to somewhere in here, and I talk about how that feels for me. In the video, we mention a little bit about how we move that mucus up and out, but today we're going to talk a lot about that. A little bit has to do with medication, but a lot of it has to do with just beating the mucus out of me. Now, I'm 30 years old now, so I've spent a lot of years beating the mucus out of myself, which sounds disgusting now that I say it. But when I was younger, I was obviously incapable of that, so because of that, my mother used to have to beat me senseless. So we're at her house now, and we're going to talk to her a little bit about the history of my airway clearance. Okay, so this is my mother, Mary Jo, and she used to beat me when I was younger.
This is correct. I used to beat him his whole life, as a matter of fact. I used to beat him day and night.
Right, because how old was I when they diagnosed me with CF?
You were a failure to thrive from 6 months to 9 months, and they finally figured it out at 9 months old. So you're diagnosed at 9 months old.
Right, and at 9 months old, when your child is filled with mucus, how do you remove that from him?
Back then, we didn't have any machines, so we had to use our hands. So it's a cupping action with your hands, and it takes about 20 minutes. And yeah, I used to beat you with my hands twice a day forever.
Now, I imagine I did not care for that.
You did not like it at all. You'd cry, I'd cry. There'd be welts, there'd be redness. It wasn't pretty.
Right. And now, even after we got a machine, we still occasionally had sessions where you just beat me because logistics.
Yeah, logistics. If you don't, you always have to have electricity with all these machines. So sometimes, you know, if you're feeling like you need to be beat, well, you don't need electricity with these hands.
All right, so we'll talk a little bit about the history of all the machines that we got and what we used, but I think we should demonstrate how the mucus clearance works.
Okay, well, in the beginning, remember, you were a smaller child. You're
right.
30 now, so I used to have, we had a board that he would lay over, a board that was like an upside down V. So when I would start, we would start with his upper lobes, and he would have to lean back. And so if you lean back a little bit, yeah, so he'd lean back, and then I would get him right here.
It's got a nice echo to it today.
Okay, so you do that, and you keep doing that, and you would do it for, I think, I want to say I did it for at least like 6 minutes for each time. So I'd go to that side, then I'd move over to this side. Just keep banging on him, banging on him, banging on him. Now remember, he was a baby in the beginning. This was awful. Okay, so then we do the front lobes. So then I'd make him turn around and he'd have to do the back lobes.
Now, should I be face down for that?
Well, no, first we'll do the upper back lobes.
Okay.
So upper back lobes, he'd have to lean like this. And again, he was on a board, so he'd be just as he is now. And then I'd get the top of, right by your chicken wings. And you hit him there. Get some good wax, make some good, you know.
The neighbors are so confused right now.
So we'd do that side, then we'd have to go over to this side, and sometimes your hands would get tired, and you're like, okay, you know, but this side works better. Okay, so we did the upper front and the upper back, and so then he would have to move to, we would either do the sides or do the lower lobes, so it depends, whichever you want to do first.
We'll do the sides first.
Okay, so sides, actually, if you probably laid over on the pillow. See, now when he was younger,
he was much tinier.
He was tinier, and then he'd be laying with his head down more towards the ground, and then you'd get him right here.
Oh boy, you're still very good at this, by the way.
Thank you. You know, there's practice, and that's the achieved goal right there, coughing up some crap. Okay, then we would roll him over to the other side, and we're talking 6-7 minutes apiece here.
Well, we can just go right to the back, I guess.
Okay, so we go to the lower back. So lower back, he had to be facing down and with his head towards the ground.
All right, let me fix my hair.
Let's see how we're gonna do this.
All right.
Okay, that'll work.
I'm like this. Oh God.
Whoa, easy, easy.
Yeah, everyone's cool here.
Okay. Okay, so now these lobes, his head is to the ground, and then the airway, the mucus should start flowing down that way.
Oh, yeah.
I used to have to do this, a baby, a little boy, toddler, all the way until we got his machines. I didn't like doing it, but you gotta do what you gotta do. I told him I'd beat him 10 times a day if I have to beat him 10 times a day. And there we have.
Oh, that's my least favorite, right
Yeah.
there. And then you try to see if you...
If you can cough anything up.
I think I already did my stuff today, so I don't have much to cough up.